And this is where it began, the journey of Bob's Little Sport Shop on 318 North Delsey Drive, Glassboro, New Jersey. That was once owned by the grandparents of Bob Vidin, Mr. Gustav and Augusta Vidin, two Swedish immigrants who moved to the United States for a better life for their families. Around 1963, Bob and Gail Vidin purchased the property on 318 North Delsey Drive from his grandfather in order to have a home for their growing family. As you can see, when we started, there was not a lot of inventory, but they made it work. With my sister Wendy sitting guard, while my mother probably was waiting on a customer, this was truly a family business. Moving on to 1970, when my father purchased the archery department from his uncle, Grover Doby Sharnackle, a World War II veteran who served his country honorably. Uncle Dobe was instrumental in teaching my father the love of the outdoors, respect for nature, and the love of archery. He also taught my mother, Gail, everything she knows about making arrows and taking care of the archery shop while my father was at work. Moving on to the early part of the 70s. As you can see here, our inventory was getting very large. Too much for that two-car garage to handle. Something had to change. Then hatched the idea that they will build a larger building, open an indoor archery range, and begin the journey of Bob's Little Sport Shop as we know it now. In order for Bob's Little Sport Shop to grow, they needed more property. In walks in 316 North Delsey Drive. Old house that was owned by Elsie Rudolph. She lived in that house pretty much all of her life until she went to a retirement home in the 70s. She grew up in that house with her sisters, being neighbors to my grandfather and his siblings. She agreed to sell her property to my father, and she would hold the mortgage. Before the house was paid off, she passed away, and in her will, she left the remainder of the house to my father and mother. With the help of family, we all began the transformation that began with tearing down of Miss Rudolph's house at 316 North Delsey Drive. There were a lot of trees to be cut down and cleared before this project could begin, once the house was down. And finally it was time. It was around 1974 when it was time to tear down the old shop. I left for school that morning with the shop still there. By the time I got home, it was gone. The time was about 3 hours to take the whole history of Bob's Little Sport Shop down in 1975 to begin the new voyage forward. Once we broke ground, it did not take long. Bob's Little Sport Shop was open. Timing was perfect. In 1973, my grandfather, Robert Biden Sr., retired from Owen, Illinois. In 1975, we finished the building. He moved in the apartment above the shop. He helped my mother run the shop during the day until my father came home from working at Atlantic City Electric at 4:30. We always had dinner with the family between 5 and 6:30 before my parents went back to work until 9 o'clock at night. I look back and I see where we've come from our humble beginnings in 1967 to now. These photos have taken me back and proven to me that you are nothing without family and friends. We are not just one family. We are united as a group of Bob's Little Sports Shop.
And welcome to the new generation of Bobs.